If Alexander the Great was a glitch that broke the map through pure speed, then the man who followed him in the grand timeline of anomalies was something entirely different. He was a programmer of order. While the West was fracturing after Alexander's death, a single figure emerged in the East to perform the most aggressive system reformat in human history. His name was Qin Shi Huang. He didn't just want to rule people, he wanted to rewrite the very language and logic they lived by. He was the first to realize that a simulation is only as strong as its standards. He was the architect of the world's first unified operating system. Before Qin Shi Huang, China was a chaotic mess of warring states, each with its own currency, its own weights, its own script, and its own laws. It was a fragmented server with 1,000 different protocols running at once, causing constant crashes and system-wide conflict. Qin Shi Huang saw this inefficiency and decided to delete it. In just over a decade, he conquered every rival state, but his true conquest happened after the wars ended. He initiated the Great Standardization. He declared that there would be only one currency, one set of measurements, and most importantly, one written language. He effectively synchronized the data of millions of people. By making the code universal, he ensured that the empire could scale at a rate the world had never seen. This wasn't just statecraft, it was a total system optimization. But every great system needs a firewall. Qin Shi Huang looked at the northern borders of his newly formatted empire and saw a threat: the nomadic tribes that represented the chaos of the unprogrammed world. His solution was the Great Wall. While we see it today as a stone monument, in the logic of the simulation, it was a physical firewall. It was a massive, expensive, and brutal attempt to define the boundaries of the ordered world and keep their external noise out. He forced hundreds of thousands of people to work on this barrier, treating them as disposable resources for the sake of the system's security. He understood that to maintain a high-functioning simulation, you must protect the integrity of your borders at all costs. As his power grew, so did his obsession with the one variable he couldn't control: time. Specifically, his own expiration date. Qin Shi Huang became obsessed with immortality. He sent thousands of people on expeditions to find the elixir of life, believing that if he could find the right chemical compound, he could bypass the biological delete command that faces every human player. He consumed mercury, believing it to be a substance of power, which likely accelerated his own system failure. But even as his body weakened, he prepared for the next phase. He didn't just build a tomb, he built a secondary server. The Terracotta Army is perhaps the most literal piece of evidence for his belief in a simulated afterlife. Over 8,000 unique, life-size clay soldiers, each with individual facial features, armor, and weapons, buried in a massive formation to guard him in the next world. Why go to such extreme lengths? In the framework of hidden logic, this was a massive data backup. He believed that if he could recreate his army in perfect detail, he could upload his military power into the next realm of existence. He was treating the physical world as a staging environment for a much larger, eternal simulation. He wanted to be the administrator of the afterlife just as he had been the administrator of China. His reign was brutal. He burned books and buried scholars alive. To the simulation, this was a file deletion protocol. He wanted to erase the old history, the old ideas, and the old corrupted files of previous dynasties to ensure that his new OS was the only one that remained. He understood that control of the narrative is control of the reality. If people cannot remember a different way of living, they will never realize they are inside a system. He was the first true master of mass-scale information control. Qin Shi Huang's system was so powerful that even after he died and his dynasty fell, the code he wrote remained. The unified China he created has persisted, in one form or another, for over 2,000 years. Most empires crumble and fade, but the Qin OS proved to be incredibly resilient. It shows us that when you change the fundamental protocols of a society, you change the trajectory of history forever. But what does this mean for us today? Are we living in the final version of the standardized world that Qin Shi Huang envisioned? Our modern world is defined by global standards, the internet protocol, the global banking system, the universal measurements of science. We are more synchronized now than at any point in history. Is this the natural evolution of human society, or are we just nearing the completion of a massive, global reformat that began in the heart of ancient China? Watch this until the end to see where the trap is hidden. Because the trap is the belief that standardization is always progress. Sometimes, when everything is the same, it becomes easier for the system to manage you. When everyone speaks the same language and uses the same tools, the firewall becomes a cage. Thank you for seeking the logic with us. Qin Shi Huang showed us that you can build a world out of stone and ink, but it's the code underneath that truly matters. Subscribe to stay updated on the next anomaly. In Part 7, we will head back to the West to look at Julius Caesar, the master of the reset. Was he a player who realized the Republic was a dying program and decided to force a hard reboot into an empire?